Chilling tales for dark nights.
The following performance is a third-round entry in the 2017 Evil Idol voice acting competition. Voting is simple. Following the performance, simply click the thumbs up icon on this video if you'd like them to become a member of the team, or the thumbs down if you'd rather they not. Voting on this entry will conclude 1 week after the date of its posting. Good luck to all of our contestants.
Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce Burt Bumblefoot. This is a small plush toy that I bought for my 2-year-old son, and it has absolutely ruined my fucking life. Let me explain. As all parents know, small children can seem like anomalies of nature. Just when you think you understand your child, your own flesh and blood, they turn around and do something so weird that you start questioning your own personality. When my firstborn, who is now 9, went from quietly playing with soldiers in the front yard to picking up dog shit off the ground and throwing it directly at my wife's face, I started questioning whether or not I should be contributing to the gene pool. The 2-year-old, however, didn't seem odd until very recently. I don't really like the idea of giving out his name on the internet, so let's call him Toby. Toby is one cute little kid. He's always smiling, wanting to play, real positive and enthusiastic. A little hyper, like his older sister, but my wife and I are able to handle him. He was like this until I gave him Burt Bumblefoot 2 weeks ago. Burt Bumblefoot is a small doll made from crochet that looks like a boy with black hair and a red jacket, with one of its feet twisted in a certain way. It's actually a pretty cute toy. The woman that I bought it from told me that this type of doll is called an amigurumi, and making them is a Japanese art. See, I had been out at a flea market looking for an anniversary gift for my wife, and during my search I found a small table with a bunch of dolls in this Japanese style. Each one was a specific character, and the old lady running the table had a booklet that explained the dolls' personalities and traits. It was super sweet. The booklet for Bumblefoot is sitting in front of me as I write this. It reads, "Say hello to Burt Bumblefoot. Burt is a little boy with a bumbly foot. Because of this, he walks around all limpy and always loses races. He needs a home where he can be loved and played with, although he sure wishes he had a normal foot again." I thought the toy would be perfect for Toby, so I bought it and brought it home for him. At first, he didn't really care for it. I wasn't offended or anything. Kids are kids, and it was just a cheap doll. However, a couple days later, I found old Burt had joined Toby's main crew of toys along with his G.I. Joe, Iron Man, and Godzilla figures. Toby always liked to carry his few favorite toys around the house, as if they were some kind of gang that accompanied him as he went about his business. But with Burt, he started making even more special exceptions. He would bring the little doll to dinner, keep him in his pocket when we'd go out, etc. Every time we asked him if he wanted to go to the playground, get pizza, or just take a walk outside, he'd say the same thing. "Let me get Burt Bumblefoot." Soon I started having a recurring dream about Toby playing with the Burt doll in his room with someone on the floor. The person accompanying my son in these dreams, whose voice sounds much like a man's, is always lying down with his feet twisted into impossible positions. This strangely shaped person is always mummified from head to toe in red yarn, with the exception of one of his eyes. The dreams only end when the yarn man's eye meets my own. Toby's older sister started to get a little jealous of how much time her brother was playing with the doll, and she asked for one of her own. My wife and I took a drive out to the flea market, but the woman who sold it wasn't there. Her entire booth was gone. I asked the other vendors, but none of them could tell me where she went. So I did what any normal person would do. I asked the internet. I posted on a couple forums asking for help finding any line of dolls carrying the Burt Bumblefoot character. No replies. Life went on for a few days, and Toby started acting stranger. Going to bed earlier, acting less active than usual. It was as if he was going through an existential crisis at the age of 2. It was weirding me and the rest of the family out. So one day, we decided to all go into his room, my wife, my daughter, and I, and play with Toby. He seemed like his usual self after about an hour of playing with his toys. Then we got the phone call. Not a call on an ordinary phone, mind you. This was a call from a little Sesame Street toy that used to be my daughter's that Toby had taken once she was too old for it. It was a play phone that had Elmo talk to you. That day, Toby picked it up, pressed a number, and a man's voice came out. It wasn't in English, so I don't know exactly what it said, but there was something about it that made me feel uneasy. What made me even more uneasy was what Toby had said to us immediately after it spoke.
"That's for you! It's Burt Bumblefoot!"
I was pretty shaken, but my wife kept insisting it was probably just a manufacturing error. I don't believe it is, so I recorded myself playing with the phone. You can listen for yourself here. The voice always talks when you press the 2 twice. Last night, Toby was acting even weirder. Throughout dinner, he barely spoke and kept staring out at nothing as if in extremely deep thought. My daughter said they were playing in her room before dinner and he had stopped abruptly, as if something freaked him out. Thinking he was sick, I picked him up and took him to bed. On my way there, I saw the doll ripped in half in the hallway. I went back into his bedroom and asked him why he tore apart his doll. He didn't say anything, he just stared at me. I took the poor, torn Bumblefoot and my heart sank when I saw that whoever had made the doll had gone through the trouble of sewing yarn innards into it. Alright, that was it. Something was super fucked up about this doll, and I was going to figure out what. I went back on my computer and found, to my surprise, that someone had actually replied to one of the questions I had posted about Burt Bumblefoot days ago. Here is his message. Hi there. You seem like a nice enough person, so I'm gonna tell you right now that you need to put that Bumblefoot doll someplace where you can keep an eye on it. That thing in your house isn't actually a doll. In all likelihood, it's probably a full-grown Japanese adult. The doll is just a capsule, a storage unit. You're not going to believe me, but that's not my business. I'm letting you know all this so I can say I tried to help you. There are services offered all over the world that a vast majority of people will never know about. Fucked up services that shouldn't exist. Acted out by sociopaths messing with shit that was never meant to be messed with. Things like tampering with consciousness, taking it out of people, putting it into other people. There's a Japanese company. I use that term very loosely. Think of it more like a cult that's run like a business, called Richidoru. They get into contact with people who are sick, deformed, or unhappy with who they are. Provide a very specific service. The process, from what I know, is taking a person's thoughts and placing them into a specifically manufactured doll. The doll takes up these loose thoughts and feelings and soaks them up, like a sponge. The dolls are sold across the world. Those undergoing the process are asked their preference, and the person's thoughts are ringed and leak into someone else, usually children. Children are more susceptible to this process, so it only makes sense to market these little soul sponges as toys. Every toy is different to fit the needs of the person being placed into it. The mind is used to being refined to the body, so it makes sense to be put into something that is at least a little familiar to it. From the description you gave of your Bumblefoot toy, this is probably some man who had some foot deformity and used Richidoru to get a second chance. I know this because my sister did it 5 years ago. She lives with me now in a body that doesn't belong to her. I resent her every day for stealing the form of someone she doesn't know, and I myself am looking for a way to reverse the process. It's the only right thing to do. I hope you take action so the same doesn't happen to your son. After that, there was another message sent by this individual. Oh shit! I almost forgot. Don't let anything happen to the doll. If your son gets kicked out of his body, he's gonna need a vessel to go into for the time being. You don't want him to be leaked everywhere. Otherwise, there may not be anything to bring back. My sister almost destroyed her doll. I have it locked away so she can't add murder to her list of atrocities she's committed in her journey to feel normal. That's what this company does, man. They take broken people, encourage their victim mentalities, and do awful things to whoever they consider normal. I am now sitting at my desk, as I have been all day, trying to piece together the torn-up Bumblefoot doll. Toby has been asking about where his toy is, but I keep telling him I've thrown it away. I don't think he believes me. He keeps trying to come into my office, get a look at what I'm doing. I want to think it's my kid, but it isn't. He's not walking like he usually does, or talking like he usually does. It's like watching a puppet with an unfitting puppeteer. What really convinced me, however, was my dream last night. In it, I was in Toby's room. He was playing with Burt Bumblefoot and the Yarn Man again. Only this time the Yarn Man was unwrapped. He was a tall, gaunt Japanese man. Humorless. Frightening. Across from him, playing with the toy, was my kid. And he was, from head to toe, covered in red yarn.
Thank you for listening. If you haven't already, don't forget to cast your vote for this contestant via either a thumbs up or thumbs down vote, and help decide who becomes the next evil idol. In the meantime, turn off the lights and turn on the dark.
Chilling tales for dark nights.